Good morning and welcome from the Village of Lake Zurich, Illinois. This is an assumption of our first live tour of a member municipality, I believe in 15 months. We started the live tours one a month. I think Skokie was able to do it in February and Whiteside County in March, and then the lockdown occurred and the quarantine, and we were doing these virtually. But so we are very, very happy to have you here in the first semi-virtual, live virtual event municipal tour of select Chicago municipalities, member municipalities. Without further ado, I would like to introduce to the far left Sarosh Sahir, our Director of Community Development for the Village of Lake Zurich, and the Honorable Mayor Poynton, the mayor of our village.
Not sure how honorable that is, but I'll take it.
Oh, okay. All due respect.
Good morning and welcome to Lake Zurich. I'm Lake Zurich Mayor Tom Poynton, as Roy introduced me. I have just a few opening remarks here to our esteemed guests sitting in the room and those of you online, especially Michael Edgar and his Select Chicago group and the Lithuanian Trade Organization. And I'm sorry, but I can't say your name. It's got too many letters in it, but welcome, sir. It's indeed an honor and a privilege for us to host you at our facility. One of my major goals when I was first elected mayor was to change the perception that Lake Zurich wasn't a very business-friendly community. In fact, I made sure that this change in approach was made a high priority objective by including it in our strategic plan. To that end, we have worked incredibly hard with our business partners and local residents with business connections to bring new businesses to Lake Zurich. And we've ramped up our business recruitment efforts significantly over the past several years. Additionally, we've created a business-friendly team of top-notch professionals, Sarosh Sahar on my left and Roy Witherow on my right, and streamlined our ordinances and procedures to make life easier in navigating our approval process. This improved strategy, really a change in mindset, has resulted in the multi-million-dollar construction of Lifetime Fitness Complex on our North Rand Road corridor, and new businesses and new residential construction throughout the village. And the addition of 30 new businesses last year in a COVID year that hampered literally everything that we did. I can't talk about recruiting new businesses, however, without mentioning that retention of quality businesses is just as important to us, especially in this COVID-19 environment we are hopefully coming out of. This is particularly relevant in the manufacturing sector. Our largest employers and a good portion of the jobs in Lake Zurich are located in our industrial park. Termax, a French company, Echo, a Japanese company, and Smalley Ring, just to name a few. This is where the business-friendly emphasis becomes so vital to us. The cooperation and joint effort approach we've built over the years with the manufacturers in Lake Zurich have led to decisions with these employers to not only stay in Lake Zurich, but to invest heavily in the expansion of their corporate and production facilities here. That's why it's so encouraging to have folks like you here today who share in that focus and who continue to support business building efforts in our communities and other communities. And by the way, last year, stand corrected, the year before, because nobody did anything last year, we had the pleasure of hosting the Consulate General of Japan and the Japan External Trade Organization. So again, welcome to Lake Zurich. We're very honored to have you spend a good portion of your day with us.
So there are a number of things that I think make Lake Zurich a wonderful place to live and a great quality of life for not only the business community but the residents as well. First of all, the variety of businesses. Everything from your standard fast food McDonald's to high-quality French dining with D&J Bistro, to a variety of pizza and barbecue places. So there's pretty much anything you need is here. As well as shopping, we've got your big box Costco's to your small boutique little shops like House of Betty Jane.
Lake Zurich is a great place to raise kids, to raise a family. We've got top-notch school system. We've got every kind of restaurant that you would like to have. We have public facilities and parks and recreation programs that are also to another level from what they were 5 years ago. So I think that in conjunction with the quality staff that we have here in Village Hall and the friendly business environment that we have here make this a great place. Many people don't realize this, but we have 32 parks in Lake Zurich. That doesn't include the county parks, which are right at our border. For example, Cuba Marsh, while not being a Lake Zurich park, is still right next door to one of our subdivisions, Braemar. Heron Creek is right down the road off of 22. Both of those parks are quality parks that we can add to our Paulus Park and our Breezewall Park and our neighborhood and our 30 other neighborhood parks. All have playground equipment, which all are well maintained. We've actually replaced a lot of that playground equipment in the last several years. So, and that just adds on to the family orientation that Lake Zurich has. We're a bedroom suburb of Chicago. We've got Target and Walmart and Costco and very successful individual entrepreneurs who have businesses along Rand Road. In addition, we have a terrific restaurant scene. We've opened up, I'm going to guess, 5 new restaurants in the last several months. You want something to eat here, you're not going to go hungry. We have an assortment of housing stock from $1 million homes to something less expensive. We have a price point to fit everyone's needs in Lake Zurich, including condos and apartments and lower cost homes, well-maintained neighborhoods and $1 million homes. We have a committed board that is family-friendly. Everybody has been involved in the community, whether it's been coaching or theater or volunteering. Every one of the board members has a terrific track record in that respect. This is a great place with terrific neighborhoods to raise a family and bring your family here. Myself and the village board, we have a simple goal. We just want to make the place better.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sarosh Saher, and I'm the Community Development Director for the Village of Lake Zurich. And I'd like to talk a little bit about why you would choose Lake Zurich. Lake Zurich is a premier community in the Lake County area, which offers a quality of life to its residents, to its businesses, and to its industries to thrive here. The number of residents is just a little above 20,000, and it is also served by a regional population of approximately 227,000 people who live within 15 minutes of our community. We're located 24 miles to Chicago O'Hare International Airport and 30 miles to the city of Chicago, so we're kind of part of the Chicagoland area. We have a very highly skilled and educated workforce, one that either lives and works within the community or one that even travels from the surrounding region to our community. And we are ranked number 1 in the state for young families. In fact, it's a great place to bring up a family. Over the past few years, due to the growth that the mayor mentioned, we have reached over 800 businesses that have established within the community. And during last year's pandemic, only lost one business. It was a women's apparel store, which kind of went out of business during the pandemic. Lake Zurich is known as the economic hub of Southwest Lake County. We are proud to say that we amount to approximately $600 million in annual retail sales, $400 million in manufactured goods, and $400 million plus professional, scientific, and technological services that all emanate out from our corporate and industrial park here in Lake Zurich. We also have an excellent school district, a very desired school district from the point of view of the Chicagoland area. School District 95 is ranked in the top 5% in the United States based on U.S. News and World Report's recent findings. We find that educational attainment for that age group of 25 plus is 55% attaining bachelor's degrees and 18% or almost 19% attaining a graduate degree. These are both much higher, as you can see, based on the state's averages. So what do our residents tell us, and why do they choose to come here and live in Lake Zurich? Lake Zurich is very family-oriented, it's affordable, there is a great sense of community and a hometown feel that the community has created, and it's safe. We have a very low crime rate, 23% of the national average, which is commendable. We have a great education and school system, as I mentioned, and of course we have the wonderful amenity of the lake and the other natural environments that the mayor mentioned, 32 other parks in the community, together with open spaces. A number of our open spaces are also naturally maintained and preserved as wetlands. Oops. Okay, there we go. As I had said before, Lake Zurich is a smaller community at the southwest corner of Lake County. We have a land area of approximately 6.7 square miles, and of that land area, approximately a quarter is actually occupied by our industrial park. The industrial park occupies the northeast quarter or the northeast quadrant of our community. We have an excellent bond rating, a AAA bond rating, which very few communities in the United States actually achieve. Less than 5% of Illinois municipalities actually achieve this, and Lake Zurich is one of those. You will see on the chart as well that we do have an ethnicity that is primarily white, but we do have a number of other ethnic groups that live and work in Lake Zurich. We're also primed and in a very good position for continued growth. Since 2000, the growth has been almost 17%. This is based on our existing population, our existing commercial corridor, and our existing industrial park that serves a population of approximately 227,000 within a 15-mile radius and has resulted in annual retail sales of over $600 million. We also have two major arterial roads that pass through Lake Zurich that connect our community to neighboring communities, both just in the region and the Chicagoland area, but also to the state and within close proximity of O'Hare Airport. The larger of the two arterials is Rand Road, which has an average daily traffic of 45,000 vehicles per day. The other, and Rand Road travels in a north-south direction. We also have an east-west corridor, Route 22, that has an average daily traffic of 20,000 vehicles per day. As you can see, that brings a lot of traffic to and through Lake Zurich. As a matter of note, Route 22 runs right past our industrial park, which, as I had mentioned, is located on the northeast quadrant of the community. Here are a couple of statistics just to kind of give you an idea of where we stand. Some of these were mentioned by the mayor. Our median household income is $118,000, which is 70% above the state. Our median home value is $369,000, which is 90% above the state's value. We have approximately a little over 7,000 housing units. And since 2018, 7 new subdivisions have either received their entitlements, are either underway, or were recently completed. Goes to show that a number of people, younger families, middle families, are moving in to the Lake Zurich area within our municipal boundaries from the rest of the Chicagoland area or beyond. The median age of our renter or owner is 41. The number of persons per household is the average, 2.86. And the mean travel time to work, based on the fact that a number of people actually work in Lake Zurich, but a number also work in the Chicagoland area, is approximately 29.1 minutes. But it is also worthwhile noting that a number of people drive to the Lake Zurich area, to Lake Zurich itself, from northern Lake County, from northern Kane County, and from northern Cook County to actually work in the Lake Zurich area, primarily in our employment areas, which is the industrial park. And now I'd like to hand it over to Roy Witherow.
Thank you, Sarosh. I'm going to date myself a little bit here. 30 years ago, I finished the graduate program of public administration at Northern Illinois University, and my master's thesis was on the county administrative form of government in Illinois. At that time, there were only 18 out of 102 counties that had that kind of structure, and I interviewed all county board chairs and county administrators. Even 30 years ago, excuse me, Lake County was at the top in terms of its professional approach to government, its professional structure, and its outreach to businesses, and its focus on corporate and manufacturing businesses in Lake County. And it had been doing that for 20 years. So fast forward 50 years, it's still Lake County. I think it not only geographically tops the state, I think in terms of all kinds of measures, particularly in businesses that locate here for a county of 700,000 people, I think it's unparalleled in the state. So I'd just kind of like to talk a little bit about the county. Also would like to just really emphasize the importance of Lake County Partners. They are the nonprofit economic development group that basically does a lot of the recruitment of businesses and corporations in Lake County. I think every municipality, 33 municipalities in Lake County belong to Lake County Partners. The county does. Most all the big corporations and many small businesses. We really rely on them when we get a request for data for a manufacturer, particularly that may be wanting to move to Illinois or consider Illinois. We look to them to be able to work with the state to provide not only training grants, but also incentives that would potentially make Lake Zurich an attractive community. So they're all they were instrumental in helping us over the years when we get a win. It's no secret we're at the border of Wisconsin, and Wisconsin likes to rate Illinois for its major companies. When we get wind of that, we did use Lake County Partners. They were instrumental in reaching out to the corporations along with Mayor Poynton, and those businesses are still here. So enough said. In terms of Lake County Partners and the County of Lake in general, their major focuses are around 4 things, and we'll get to that in just a minute. Biopharma, the industry here is incredibly important. Manufacturing, high-tech manufacturing is very important. Professional technical services is a major employer here, and healthcare. The healthcare occupations is also those are the 4 major industries that find Lake County attractive. And we have a lot of those in Lake Zurich too as well. I just read an article yesterday, 2 of the hospitals that are, I think, scored, perfect scores are in Lake County. One is Lake Forest and the other is Advocate Good Shepherd, which is just down the road in Barrington. So also, I would just like to say that Lake County was very, very important to us during the COVID crisis. They received, I think it was almost $16 million, or much more than that, but they earmarked $16 million to businesses within the Lake County area to assist them in recovering from the COVID pandemic. And our businesses in Lake Zurich were instrumental. We received about $1.8 million, our local businesses did, to help them alleviate the challenges that were placed upon them by particularly small businesses. So that, I think, is just indicative of how important business is to municipality, or to Lake County. I think this is indicative of why corporations and businesses move to Lake County or have had a long history in Lake County. 11 of the top Fortune 500 companies have headquarters and production facilities in Lake County. Most recently was Caterpillar, moved its corporate headquarters from Peoria to Deerfield. CDW, Professional Technical Corporation, has its headquarters in Vernon Hills, as Discover is in Vernon Hills. So I think this is just, like I said, it's the reason that these major corporations find Lake County particularly attractive. And the tax structure here is considerably more competitive and less than you would probably find in Lake County. I think one of the big things that people who talk about, CEOs and training managers and HR directors, that their biggest need is, can I run my business here at a less expensive place than I can somewhere else? And my training needs are incredibly important to us. And I think that's only going to increase as the competition for employees becomes greater. Lake County College does an incredible job of training, custom training for businesses of any size, whether you're 5 employees or you're a major corporation like Walgreens. What they do, they have such a large talent pool of corporate executives and CEOs and CFOs and logistics directors. And these people volunteer with Lake County College to bring custom-made type of training to businesses that need it, and it's really cost-effective. I think the cost to Lake County, to the person or the company that would be doing this, is maybe 20% of what it would be to enroll their employees in formal training programs. So I think that is really indicative of the commitment that Lake County College has to preparing our workforce now and in the future. I can't overemphasize how important the industrial manufacturing sector is to Lake Zurich. And I think it's going to become even more important as we progress post-COVID. As Sarosh said, approximately almost 25% of our land mass is our industrial park. I'll forward to that in a minute because I don't want to know how to reverse this, but you'll see the rose-colored area is the Lake Zurich borders, and that blue area is our industrial park. So you can see it encompasses a lot of our land mass. Okay, thank you. The number of, in fact, manufacturing industrial jobs are really important. We have twice the number of manufacturing jobs in Lake Zurich than the average of municipalities across the state. We're fully aware that 5 of our 8 largest employers are in the industrial park, and 62% of those employees work in the industrial park. So it's an important part of our economic base. And in fact, I think it's also indicative, and I'm using the word indicative here a lot because I think it fits. Even during the pandemic, we had 12 new businesses locate in the industrial park for 2020. So I think that is very evident of how we view and welcome industrial manufacturing type of corporations. What will I see? I think this is going to be even more important as the post-COVID era. I understand that the Chicago metro area is second only behind Dallas in the amount of new construction of industrial manufacturing type of facilities. And we are fully prepared, and we're primed to do that in our industrial park as well. We do, I think if you drive through our industrial park, unfortunately we don't have the time to do that today, you would not know that they're factories, they're producing things. I mean, it looks more like a corporate park. And that is that's the way I think the priority was set by the Industrial Council years and years ago, and they've maintained that. So we are looking forward to future expansion of the industrial sector in our industrial park. There are some very few vacancies that are available, We do have some buildings that are going to be retrofitted, and we have one that has already come online with that. And there's a very, very few that probably can be demolished and repurposed, and we would look to the state of Illinois to help us secure incentives and perhaps training dollars if that were to happen. We do have an international presence. Two of our 5 largest corporations are foreign-owned subsidiaries. Echo Industries recently expanded a $50,000 square foot addition, completely their offices and their corporate headquarters. They were at 800 employees last year. They're probably going to break 1,000 employees this year. And they are very high. It's very interesting. Their current technology, what they're working on, is now wireless lawnmowers. And if you were to go by their facility, you can see this big contraption device mowing their lawn, and there's no one there. So it's kind of like the Roomba for your yard. So that is really important on them. During the pandemic, they killed it. They were operating 6 days a week. They had to go to 2 shifts, and they don't see that stopping. They view future expansion as high probability in the near future. And Termax LLC is a subsidiary of the French-owned company LaCie Automotive. They were purchased, I think 50% of them were purchased maybe 3-4 years ago with the intent and they may be already completely purchased by LaCie Automotive now. And I think also, I'm going to use the word indicative again, that the corporate people, friends, and neighbors in the industrial park are committed to Lake Zurich, and how friendly and open we are in our business approach policy is that in the last 5 years, those corporations have increased either their manufacturing square footage or their office square footage to almost 200,000 square feet. So for a town of 20,000, I don't think that's too bad. So I'll close by saying, can I have it? Thank you. Good. Our motto is at the heart of community, but this is our second motto. It's Lake Zurich, it's where you belong. And we think that is true for our residents, for our visitors, for our businesses, anyone that wants to come to the community. It is at the heart of the community. Great place to raise a family, great place to do business. And thank you very much for your opportunity to talk about Lake Zurich. So are we opening?
The industrial park is a very important component of Lake Zurich's economic base. Approximately 75% of our 10 largest employers work within the industrial park, and it encompasses nearly 20% or 1/5 of Lake Zurich's land mass. Some of our largest employers are Echo, Termax, Peapod, Smalley Steel Ring, and the jobs that are created and that exist within this industrial park are very important. Approximately 75% of our 10 largest employers work within the industrial park.
There are thousands of jobs in the industrial park. As a matter of fact, Echo, one of our largest employers in the village, just put on a multi-million-dollar expansion. And if you know Echo, you know that it takes up a big chunk of the industrial park.
I've been president of the Lake Zurich Industrial Council for 17 years. And I've been with Echo Incorporated for 18 years. Some of my roles with the Lake Zurich Industrial Council and interacting with the Village of Lake Zurich, they've been very positive. We were very pleased that the village reached out to us for our assistance because it showed that they wanted the thoughts and opinions of those that are working here in Lake Zurich to get ideas as to how we could make the zoning code better. It was a great experience with staff, and we made a lot of sweeping changes to the code that allowed businesses to more simply come into the park. We opened up more permitted uses, and more permitted uses allows you to streamline your entry into the village. You don't need to have reviews from the village board. You don't need to have reviews with the zoning and development committee. So it reduces your time to permit. Here at Echo, I've had the opportunity to work with the village board on several building expansion projects. In my time with Echo, I've built 2 distribution centers and most recently a corporate office expansion. During our corporate office expansion, we met with the village staff prior to permitting just to review the scope of the project and what it was that Echo wanted to accomplish on our property. And staff was very excited that Echo chose to expand here in Lake Zurich and worked with us to offer suggestions as to how we could reduce our time to permit, as well as offer design suggestions for us that would give us a better product and more durable product, throughout the years. And we appreciated that type of cooperation and partnership as well. Since our building project was an industrial project in an industrial zoning district, we were able to get our project approved administratively. That saved us months of formal meeting time with the different boards, as well as the costs associated with applying to those various boards and preparing materials for those meetings. So we really appreciated them opening up that administrative process for Echo's project. And in the end, we have a beautiful building that everybody is happy to see built in Lake Zurich.
In addition to that, we've got Smalley Ring, which also 2 years ago put on a big, huge expansion. So we've got a lot of interesting businesses in the industrial park.
So that kind of wraps up the summary of Lake Zurich, and I think we will turn it over to Mr. Edgar and supply us with any questions, or does anyone have any questions?
A couple points I'd like to make. I think you saw Mike Hilt talk about the Echo, the ease of Echo's process through our process, moving through our process. Echo was essentially the poster child for all of those changes that we made over the years since I've become mayor and these guys have joined our staff. We've made it much easier for people to come into town, and I'm talking to our friends from foreign countries here, and do business with us. So I think if you listen to Mike Hilt and you listen to what he had to say about our processes, you should be encouraged if you want to bring your businesses here. So the other thing I wanted to talk about is that, this COVID-19 pandemic is still with us, even though we're not wearing as many masks and taking as many precautions as we did in the past. But and we've got some people in the room from other municipalities who probably did similar things. So I want to reiterate or at least discuss for a second some of the things that we did to make life easier in Lake Zurich during this pandemic. And we consistently worked with the chamber and over 800 local businesses to assist them in grant procurement efforts. We worked with Lake County and Lake County partners to secure over $1.85 million of small business grants to over 100 Lake Zurich businesses. We developed a web page dedicated to a live, updated listing of eateries offering takeout delivery service. We suspended noise ordinances for grocery and essential stores' early or late deliveries, and the same with some of our larger manufacturing companies. We've eased sign restrictions for essential businesses. Through a partnership with Lake County partners, the village was able to find lending institutions that will work with local businesses to procure funding for the Paycheck Protection Program and CARES Act. We eased rent restrictions, and most of that was done by Roy Witherow. So I just want you to have Roy take a little bow for all the work that he did as part of our business development team. And we worked with households that encountered financial difficulties to allow flexible water payment plans for those who needed it. We canceled almost all of our special events for 2020 and 2021, but they're all coming back online now. We moved all our public meetings to virtual formats, and I actually kind of liked that because I was sitting there at my desk with a suit and tie on in shorts. It was kind of sometimes. So, so that was kind of good. And we adjusted our staffing levels to allow for mobile working and staggered staff levels. So a lot of our other municipality friends did similar things. We also adjusted our liquor licenses to accommodate those restaurants and bars that weren't selling any booze anymore. So Michael Dubner did a lot of that stuff, our director of innovation, and we appreciate that as well. And so did the other the restaurants. So we were very responsive, we were very flexible, and we carried that into almost everything that we do. So I just wanted to make sure that we talked about that because it's still here, it's not going away yet, and we're still flexible. So thanks for that. So other than that, any questions from anybody? Michael?
I was just going to say, Mayor, checking on my mic on that. So the question I have for you, Mayor, what's next? So this summer, we're going into phase 5 tomorrow or Friday? What
June 11th?
Plans you have for summer in Lake Zurich?
Well, we're going to do one more meeting virtual, and that'll be on the 21st Village Board meeting, and then after that, depending upon what happens on the 11th, we're full open. We've got a whole summer full of activities, both special events and park programs. I know some of the private committee or private special event people have scaled back some of their programs, but our biggest one is Rock the Block in September, and we're full bore going ahead with that. So, we'll see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen after June 11th. If the numbers go up, who knows what's going to happen? So we're optimistic that we're going to go back to complete normality. So.
Great. So, Vibantas, you had a question.
Yes, sir.
Mayor Pointon, thank you very much for the interesting presentation, and thanks to your team. And I would like to ask, is Lake Zurich Village offering any financial or tax incentives for investors coming to your area?
I'm going to give that to Roy or Sarosh. Roy? Yep.
Yeah, we do have a history of doing that, depending on the type of business or industry. We did have an incentive with Peapod. Unfortunately, Peapod, at a national level, closed all its stores in the Midwest and the East Coast. But
Prior to COVID.
Much more prior to COVID.
A home delivery business that closed prior to COVID.
Not good timing.
Not good timing.
But we did have a sales tax sharing agreement with them because it was an employer we thought and business that brought great value to the village. I would be remiss to say that the Peapod building is now been 10-year lease has been signed with Provender food distribution facilities out of Newport Beach, California. They own approximately, I think, 5.5 million square footage of refrigerated facilities. They're working with the Department of Agriculture now to provide food services to federal food banks, which is part of the Biden administration's. It's not an empty building or won't be an empty building longer. But getting back to your point, we do. Depending on the various types of, if it's an attractive business that we think is something that we would like to see in Lake Zurich, we're very willing to work with that. And that's also when we bring Lake County partners into the mix because they have contacts in Springfield and they know how to bring certain types of grants and business incentives from the state as well. So yes, and it depends on the employer. And we also have 3 TIF tax increment finance districts in the village, and you'll see on the walking tour of our Main Street area, we been able to use some of that incentive money to enter into public-private partnerships that kind of revitalize our downtown Main Street area. And parts of the Rand Road corridor is also in a TIF district. So we're very open to having conversations about what the potential employers' needs and incentive needs are.
And also, if I may add, This may not necessarily be a financial incentive, but it's very important for businesses and industries locating in our community. Our review times for all of the permits and any of the zoning approvals, we pride ourselves in turning around permits in 15 business days. If there is a zoning relief application required, we do it within 45 to 60 days. Sometimes if it's a much larger project, 60 to 90 days. Comparable to other communities that I have seen in the northeast Illinois area, some of those we see competing have a 6 to 8 month turnaround time. So when there is a 45 to 60 or a 60 to 90 day turnaround time, that becomes an incentive to a number of businesses wanting to locate in town. So I thought I'd just add that as well, because it's not directly related to a financial incentive, but one where we provide the service to bring businesses in quicker.
And if there's any delay, it's generally because the paperwork isn't up to stuff. So, you're missing key documents, I'm sure you're laughing, so you know what I'm talking about. Right, there you go.
And just one last point too is a number of the larger businesses and industries do look at our corporate and industrial park. So we also pride ourselves in the fact that it is really well served with infrastructure, with water services, sanitary services, roads that can accommodate all of the larger delivery trucks that connect at many locations. It's not just one or two bottleneck locations. We have a really good street grid within our industrial park that allows for free flow of traffic into and out of the industrial park where needed, because deliveries and servicing the industrial properties is also a very important factor that a number of businesses look at when locating to a community. And we have our public works staff that really does a great job in keeping that infrastructure going. So another point to add.
Thank you for the excellent presentation. It's great to actually see a presentation in person. So thank you for that. My name's Aaron. My background, I'm a residential real estate broker. So what I'm looking at now is like the very high demand for housing and prices going up, and Lake Zurich seems to have a lot of land. So do you have a lot of demand for new substantial housing subdivisions, and do you have available land and resources to accommodate that as well?
Yes, we are also being subject to this phenomenal, I should say, pent-up demand for new housing starts. We currently have 3 ongoing residential subdivisions, 2 single-family subdivisions and 1 multiple-family subdivision that are already off the ground. One of them just started last year, Avery Ridge on Midlothian Road. It was entitled for 34 new single-family homes. Since January of this year, they're now on their 14th home, new single-family home, which is quite a good pace that they're going at. And we have another one, multiple-family residential subdivision for 38 new townhouses. The first building is up. It's going to be used as the model, so that's getting ready. The third one's kind of right at the point of getting its final plan approved, and will get off the ground soon. As far as available land goes, most of our available land in larger quantities is towards the north of Lake Zurich. It is in our facilities planning area, which means that we could serve them with sanitary and water, but those properties need to be annexed. There's about 170 acres lying in that area, some of which is ready for development and some of which needs to be subdivided before it can be developed, but all again served, or at least to their boundaries, with sanitary and water.
Yeah, and Sarosh, if you can add a little bit more context to this, as in, we're how far from, say, Chicago Airport, but also what price point are these houses coming in at? Because it's uniquely different than what's happening in Miami or San Francisco. And so why don't you talk about that?
So as far as distance from Chicago O'Hare, 24 miles. Not a direct interstate route, but the closest interstate is I-90, which then you get onto 53 to get over to Lake Zurich. Takes about, I'd say, 20 minutes to a half an hour, I would imagine. In terms of price points, single-family homes right now, the new ones coming up, which are on an average 2,500 to 3,500 square feet. They are in the price point of approximately 500 to 600,000 at this point. Our multiple family townhouses, which is about 2,500 square feet, 2,000 to 2,500 square feet. They are in the range, particularly this one that's off the ground is approximately 350,000 right now. It again depends on the area in which these are developed. Some of them closer to main thoroughfares do command a slightly different price point than one that's off the main thoroughfare. The properties, the vacant properties that I mentioned are actually along our northerly boundary along Rand Road, which is a major arterial and commercial corridor in the village. But over in that area, it is primarily vacant on the east side within our facilities planning area, but developed within Whinstone of North Barrington, which is an office research area developed, and then farther west of that, very high-end single-family homes, which is part of North Barrington's municipal boundaries.
Yeah, and I don't know if you talked about the education system, or I'll just finish up because I know I want to get one or two more questions in before time. But one of the things in Lake Zurich is the high schools that it serves are both elite national high schools. So I think
One high school, yeah.
Well,
Lake Zurich. Stevenson is not
yeah,
our
but you're
district.
still Lake Zurich is top 750 nationwide. So out of 20,000 schools nationwide, Lake Zurich is, I think, 700. So I mean, you are if we're looking at the whole rest of the United States and quality of life, you have a really great high school, and you have some interns today that are with Lake Zurich High School. So I just wanted to
It's a very
touch base on
commonly
that.
recurring question that is that we ask of new residents when they come into town, saying, "What brought you to Lake Zurich?" And more often than not, it's the school district and the school system that attracts the residents over here, because a number of location decisions for residents are made based on the quality of life and the quality of the education being offered by the community. And we kind of meet and address both of those very well. So.
And in this town, I like to refer to the District 95 or the high school as really the center of a lot of the social activities. You know, if you ever seen the program Friday Night Lights, Friday Night Lights is here and alive on Friday nights during football season, as the high school kids probably can tell you. There's 70 kids that play football on the varsity team, and you got the sophomore team plays, and then they have 200 plus kids in the band and POMs, and that's a Friday night event. You know, that whole area is jammed. So, big deal here. And we got a couple of state championships or at least one anyways, out of football. So.
Tyler, did you have a question? You're good. All right. I have a couple other questions that to wrap it out. We have about 3 minutes left before we're going to go to the next session. But I think let's talk about Echo. We had a wonderful meeting at Echo, and they've been growing. You had a wonderful industrial piece. And so how has it been working with the international companies that are coming to Lake Zurich?
I would say pre-COVID, it was going very well. We made some very good connections, I think, with some French companies through the French-American Chamber of Commerce. We also had the visit from the Japanese consul in January. We have since done a little more work with the Japan External Trade Organization to introduce them to, I believe it was the city of, not Mundelein, Libertyville. They had a Japanese-owned firm there, and they asked for a soft introduction and an introduction to our elected representatives. So I think we're seeing that kind of interest in Lake County. Hopefully, now that we're post-COVID, we can start having those face-to-face meetings again with Jethro, our Japanese colleagues, and our French colleagues through the French-American Chamber of Commerce. So once we're done here, that's next on our list to do.
So let me go back to our real estate friend here for a second and expand on something you asked, Michael. That was where do we have some additional properties for development? We had a large tract of property on the eastern eastern corner at 22 in Quentin that was approved
Yes.
for 99 townhomes and
56 townhomes.
56
and
townhomes.
Approximately 10 acres of.
and 10 acres of retail. And the deal fell apart at the base level between the owner and the developer. So, you know anybody who's interested in developing that property, come and see Roy or Sarosh or me, and we'll direct you on where to go.
Well, I could add just one further thing, too, in terms of attracting residential, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I'm
Okay.
done. It's good.
Millennials are starting, they're raising their families just like baby boomers and Gen X did. They're just doing it a little later. We're starting to see more of that interest in Lake Zurich. And I think what is really is going to be very important to them, they're leaving the large urban areas to raise a family. Number one, it's affordable. And two, I want to talk about safety. Chicago, in my opinion, I live in Chicago, have for 20 years. The area gets a bum rap. But our safety here is, our crime rate's 23% of the national average. So it's a great school system. It's a very safe community. And lastly, you'll see when we do the walking tour of Main Street, we want to provide those urban experiences that millennials are looking for. The walkability, the clubs, the bars, the restaurants, the entertainment section in our Main Street area. We're fully aware that that's what's coming. And thanks to Mayor Poynton and the village board, I think we've made incredible progress in the last year or two. That is an inducement, a lifestyle inducement, not necessarily just a financial inducement.
Great. Well, thank you guys very much. And so we're going to end this session, and then Vidmantas and I are going to go right on into the next session, and so we're going to continue rolling. So again, thank you, gentlemen.